All right, so we're going to start off with first, how do you create a pattern for a normal 4x4 lace closure? And what 4x4 lace closures are used for is really just for parting. There are some companies that do a center part or, side part or free part, allowing it to be parted in any way. This is actually the most affordable lace closure to actually purchase and also make. So if you have lace, usually they may give you like a pattern that's already on the inside of it, and it's in inches, so you can choose whichever one kind of floats your boat. There's the long piece, which you can use to create a full 360 closure, and I'll show you that one in the next clip or the next video, but just mainly just focusing on the most common one is the 4x4 closure. So I have this pattern that I created with just a ruler and some pencils, and it should give you an idea as to how to create this. And I know that's upside down, sorry, but you guys get the point. So you actually will run your lace along the perimeter, and what the lace looks like, or I want to say ribbon, looks like this. This is a ribbon. You want to find ribbon that's somewhat close to the same color as the lace that you are using. Can this be dyed or tinted or anything? Yes, it can. But as you can see, this was the closest that I could find. And this will go along the perimeter of the lace closure. Now, when you do this along the perimeter, you only need to do it from here to here, because this is actually the hairline, and this is where you do not ventilate. So this is just giving you an example. So the lace has stretch, and it stretches more on one way than it does the other. The side where you want it to stretch the most is when it goes over the front of the head. That is why you see here you need to place the lace so that it stretches these two directions, not this way. So you want it to stretch this way so that when you apply the wig, it actually can lay flat and it goes along the hairline of the person's head. So if you have the most stretch, that is how you want to lay it. The hairline is right here. How you plan to do the hairline is totally up to you. And then you have excess lace that you do not ventilate. That allows for the customer or yourself to cut that along the hairline the way that they want it. Now, the measurements for a 4x4 closure is exactly what it is, 4x4. I also have it listed here in the metric system. So for those of you who follow that instead of the standard American inches, there's 10.16 centimeters, which is 4 inches, and you have 2.54 centimeters. You guys get the point. So this is an inch, this is 4 inches, and then the full length of it is actually 5, leaving that 1 inch, which gives you the 4x4 closure. So this is a good example of how to create a pattern of your own. You can always keep this. What I would suggest you do is, after you draw it out and make it, and make sure you have all of this information listed here, save this, title it, and then take a printer or just go to a copy machine and just print this off so that you can cut and use it to be able to make your lace closures. So that's what we're going to do in the next video. All right, so here I've made a copy of the closure. So use the printer, made a copy so I can keep my original. And now I'm going to use this to actually make my closure. So I believe I want to make 2 of these at once. So I'm going to cut 2 at once. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure I am paying attention to the most amount of stretch. And it happens to be this way because there's more stretch this way. And then I am actually going to fold this in half. So this is the amount of lace that I have. It's going to allow me to make 2 4x4 closures. And then I'm also going to make a lace frontal, and I'll show you that later. But I'm going to align it to, making sure the stretch, I'm going to align it to the edge of my pattern piece. Hope you guys can see that. And I'm going to take some regular pins. These are, you know, fabric pins that you would use. And I'm going to pin it to the paper first. And that will be sure that it's there. And then excess fabric or lace, I'm going to just cut off. And here it is pinned to the, it's pinned to, I can't even talk. It's pinned to the pattern. So I'm going to take some ribbon, and I'm going to pin the ribbon to the lace. So this is what I'm going to do. Actually, before I do that, I think I made a mistake here. Let's cut this in half. I forgot to cut it in half. So let's cut this in half first. That way I can make two. And there we are. So making sure that's along the line of it. Pin the closure to the pattern. And then starting point, remember the edge of the ribbon to the outside. I'm going to pin it to the paper and the closure all at once. And then all the way around, only like a few inches or centimeters away, pinning around. So I'm going to pin top, middle, the bottom. Just take it to that end, pin it, and then here's the fold. So that's actually the easiest way. So pin it at that end, and then here's the fold to continue on, and pin the rest of it down. So make sure you're pinning to the lace only at this point. And notice how I'm pinning so that I can actually go through this with a sewing machine without having to take the needles completely out. I will show you that or demonstrate that. Again, once we get to this end here, you want to just go ahead and fold up and align it, and then just pin it down. And now I can take this starting point here off and just pin it to the lace, and then I can unpin and I can just cut excess ribbon off at this point. And here is my lace closure getting ready to be pinned on. I must mention this again because I totally forgot that you really would start here and around, but that's totally fine. What I'm going to do is just pin right here. And that's if you make this mistake. So see, I'm bringing myself back to how it should be because you're not ventilating in that. You want that to be loose, and you also want it to be professional. So sometimes things do happen. I'm glad I'm showing it to you this way. And then I'll just cut that excess off. But next time we all both pay attention to where we are with it. And there we are. This is your closure. So all you have to do is sew this ribbon down, and then you'll be able to ventilate. You'll be able to ventilate this closure. All right. So first things first, when you're getting ready to sew the ribbon onto the lace, you want to make sure you have thread that mimics or is just about close to the color of the lace and the ribbon. This can be tinted, dyed, or whatever that needs to be done if you need it lighter. You also can find lace that's lighter and ribbon that's lighter. But in this case, I'm just showing you that you need to make sure you have thread that actually matches, because that's professional. That's what you want to have done. So in case you have people who just need lace closures, or who need what we call toupees, like you can make toupees by ventilating. It's kind of called cosplay. But if your clients happen to be male and they need it for that purpose, toupees, or if it's for theater purposes or anything like that, just make sure it looks professional. I'm really big on that. So I'm actually getting ready to set up my sewing machine. You can use whatever sewing machine that you have, but the stitch that we're going to be using is a straight stitch. So let me set up my sewing machine, making sure my bobbin and everything is in. So set your sewing machine to, make sure you have your sewing machine set to straight stitch, normal straight stitch, no basting stitch, but straight stitch. In most cases, it's either the number 1 or the number 2 on most sewing machines. And you are actually going to sew on both sides of this ribbon. Straight stitch on the edge on the outside and straight stitch on the edge on the inside. So put my needle down, drop it. And I'm starting the outside first and then the inside next. Take your time. And that part is done. So the outside or the perimeter is done. So now I'm going to work on the inside line. So that means you're going to have 2 stitches. And we're done here. So I'm going to show you what the next step or the last step is. But what you're going to do is you're going to unpin everything. Let's give you guys some more visual going on here. And we're going to unpin everything first. And then we're going to cut the excess lace off. So first, cut the excess threading first. So any threads that's hanging, cut that first. And then you can cut the excess lace off, making sure you're keeping that amount. Making sure you're keeping this amount still there. You still need that excess that's past the ribbon edges, but we're just going to cut the excess lace off all the way around. Just make sure everything is nice and straight, and you have your lace closure. It's ready to be ventilated pretty much. So either side is totally up to you, but everything is pretty much secure. At least from here, we got the stretch that we need just in case we need it, and there we are.